Well, hello, mate.
There we go. Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Dan and Kev's Wrestling Talk Show, where today, I believe, we are reviewing, we're previewing NXT Takeover 36.
Yeah. Before we go any further, this I have to say this has been recorded on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching SummerSlam live, and we forgot in our predictions of the last video, we forgot to talk about one of the matches, and that was Drew McIntyre versus Jinder, which has obviously happened, but we left it off.
Yeah.
But I thought I'll just say I think Drew McIntyre is going to win that. He probably already has. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but by the time this goes out, we'll know. But
yeah, my head says McIntyre, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jinder wins.
Yeah, it
wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, it's one of those weird ones, isn't it? It's one of those weird ones. I even forgot.
Yeah.
It's sort of, we've had it a few times and there's been a running thing for it, but we completely missed it off. But it was there. Before we get on to our predictions for NXT TakeOver, I just want to say that starting from Tuesday, obviously when NXT, there's some big changes coming. So they've moved out of Full Sail now, and now they're in this CWU Centre, which I thought that was the case anyway. But anyway, and they're going back to taped episodes. They're doing 4 blocks. So basically, they're taping a month's worth of episodes in 2 days, I do believe. Yeah. And they're changing the whole arena as well, so it's going to be a lot brighter, which was one of the things I mentioned in a previous video, that it was very dark, though you did say that you like having the darkness.
I do, yeah.
And it's different, but they said that it's going to be a lot brighter. There's going to be a lot more lighting and a new set and all that sort of stuff.
They're ruining it.
What's that, mate?
They're ruining it. They're ruining it.
I was always, like, when NXT started, I was always, and I still am, under the impression that it's developmental. But over the last 3 or 4 years, it's moved away from developmental to form its sort of own brand. Even to the point now that WWE is now not referencing, because I remember before they used to reference NXT. And they were saying that when we do the brand, the draft, they were like, oh, it could be anyone from NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. But now they're not even including NXT in anything, including when Charlotte came out and said she didn't even include her NXT title runs. And they've sort of gone, hang on, NXT's, it needs to be developmental still. So there's big changes coming.
Yeah, but Kev, I'm in such a weird position with this, because I think NXT was better a few years ago when it was developmental for a few reasons. If you go back 5 years, you had Finn Balor, you had Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Neville, Baron Corbin, Asuka, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, Paige a few years earlier. That it was. The roster was that good back then. I mean, how many of the names I just mentioned are now massive, major players on the main roster?
Exactly.
So, but NXT was better back then, and I don't know. I don't think it's fair to say that it's because of how much talent they had back then, because they've had a hell of a lot of talent over the last couple of years. They've had some incredible superstars, but I do. The only thing that I would slightly disagree with you on is when you said that you've always felt like it is developmental.
Yeah.
I'm in a difficult position because I think NXT was at its best when it was just developmental. But when you've got Nakamura and Balor and Owens and Zayn creating, and Samoa Joe creating the matches that they did create, it's very difficult when you've got talent of that caliber. You're being disrespectful. Not you. I'm saying by just saying NXT is only developmental, I find that very disrespectful to the level of talent that they had at that time. And I think it was a very natural progression in it becoming a third brand, because the matches that they were putting on and the talent that they had outshone a lot of the Raw and SmackDown superstars. And me and you have said, for the last 2 years since it has been its own brand, NXT has been consistently better than Raw and SmackDown. So, how can the third brand be purely developmental? Because this isn't a dig at you. This is a dig at like Vince McMahon and the higher up that have made this decision. Because how are they saying we're going to make NXT back to just purely developmental when it's actually the best performing wrestling show that they have?
Yeah.
That doesn't feel developmental.
I think it comes down to obviously numbers as well. I've mentioned many times. Because they haven't been getting the viewership. Now, it might be we as wrestling fans look at NXT and think, oh, it's the best wrestling out of what WWE do. It's the best thing. It's the best one. Best storylines, best matches, all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to viewership, and I've said to you before, when Killian Cross come out, not a fucking reaction, because no one really watches NXT. You got to think, NXT doesn't even get 1 million views on anything, on Twitter, on YouTube, on replays, and obviously people aren't, it gets what, 600,000 people. There's 1 million more people watching Raw and SmackDown each week, so there's 1 million people not watching NXT, and like I said, why ain't that? I said to you before, this is why when they introduce things like Killian Cross and people like that, there's not a reaction there, because there's a big portion of the crowd that don't know who they are.
I just find it really sad that, like you've just said, that the numbers clearly show that NXT just isn't watched anywhere near as much as. But it's funny that Raw gets more than double the amount of views, and it's absolutely dog shit. Compared to NXT. Like, why is everyone tuning in for the worst show? And then no one's watching the only good one. And I think it comes down as well to sort of a family thing, isn't it? Monday Night Raw is a family thing. You get all your kids round, you get the family watching it, like we do on a Tuesday over it. And it's the same with the Friday and the Monday and the Friday. But I think there's a lot of factors in play. You got to think there is merchandise out, obviously, with T-shirts and belts, and sort of with action figures. But when you go to a toy shop, you can pick up toy versions of the belts, these ones, but nothing to do with NXT. And it's the same with the action figures as well. There's not a lot of NXT action figures about. Everything's WWE orientated, isn't it? So I do think it's getting better though. Because I have seen a lot more NXT superstars getting figures now, but it's taken a long time, a lot longer than what it should have done to get there. It's like the statement that I read that come from WWE was exactly what you just said, that they want it to be developmental again, but they're focusing on the young talent. And I made the joke on the show that we did a few weeks ago that how can you say we're focusing on the young talent when you've just released all of the young talent? Like, how can you say, right, this is a developmental show where we're focusing on pushing young talent, and then the main event at TakeOver, Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross, are they young talent? Or so Samoa Joe's got 25 years experience and has won titles all over the world. Karrion Kross has won titles all over the. People don't realize. For people who don't know who Karrion Kross is, Karrion Kross has been doing this for 15 years.
Oh yeah,
He's only been signed with WWE for the last 2, and for people that don't watch NXT, I've only seen him 4 times on Raw. This guy has been doing this for 15 years. Is that developmental?
I mean, there was a lot of criticism years ago as well when you had people like Shinsuke massive name in Japan. New Japan Wrestling, he was a fucking big name. And he started off his career in NXT, and everyone's like, so I remember there was a running joke, wasn't there, between people that had been in the business for 30 years. People were like, why would you want to go and sign with WWE knowing you were going to have to retrain? And, well, WWE style's a little bit different than others, and I think that's what it is. But they had a good point. You know, if you've got Shinsuke Nakamura, he's like, right, and then he has to go to NXT where they, you know, where they're learning. He's learning new things, and it's like going back to school again, isn't it? It's like a 30-year-old going back to school again, and I get that.
Well, it's a foot in the door, though, isn't it? You know, you've got to think there's a foot in the door. So, you know, Drew McIntyre obviously got sacked. He then went and toured the world. He went to Mexico. He went to Japan. He wrestled for some European promotions. And then he obviously came back, signed for NXT, won the NXT title, had a rivalry with Adam Cole, and then obviously he came up to the main roster. But I remember someone who's massively underused and undervalued in Bobby Roode, because Bobby Roode was like, you know, TNA champion. They basically built the entire roster around him. You know, he was that good.
The same with Samoa Joe, because I remember when they went, NXT has signed Samoa Joe, and they were like, he should be called straight up. He should be on the main roster. And the process was, whenever anyone was signed by the company, they went to NXT, then to Raw or SmackDown. That was the process.
Yeah.
It's all changed now.
Apart from AJ Styles, he was the only one who came at that time who did literally go straight to Raw. But it's AJ Styles. You know?
I do have to apologise a minute. My dogs are play fighting. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it's fine, mate. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Stop it. They're both looking at me like, what? Come here.
They're both looking at you like, shut up, Dad.
Yeah, it's like when the kids start mucking about and getting loud, and you say, stop. And they both look at you as like, what? That's what the dogs have just done to me. But yeah, I do apologise for that. But no, but yeah, you got to think. I remember when they went, oh my God, I can't believe they've signed Sami Zayn. And then they went, oh God, to NXT. You know what I mean? And it was, I think it's a process you have to do, which has slightly gone away, because when it became the third brand, you had things like, I remember 2 years ago, everyone was screaming out to have Undisputed Era on Raw and SmackDown, and they just didn't do it. And I'm wondering whether Vince said, "Oh, can we call some people up?" And Triple H went, "Well, you can't have them."
I think that definitely happened. I think that did definitely happen.
I also want to point out there was a good fact, and I know I was shocked when Bronson Reed got released, but I do understand why they released him now. So apparently he had some tryout matches, didn't he? He was doing dark matches on Raw and SmackDown. Vince McMahon turned around and didn't see nothing in him, right? This is what's going around. So Vince McMahon turned around and said, I don't see anything in Bronson Reed. And then they released him, and everyone's like, oh, why? And the reason behind it was because Vince said, well, if I don't see anything in him and he's not going to move up, what's the point in having him? And I sort of have to agree with that. I sort of have to think, if you're not going to move up to NXT to Raw or SmackDown, what's the point? You know what I mean? You can't be an NXT lifer, and I think this is the process they're going with. And it's the same with, you know, I keep seeing similarities with football, and I know I don't like speaking about it because it's a wrestling show, but, you know, if you sign a footballer and you see him at training and you're paying X amount for him, and then you say, oh, we'll call him up and he plays rubbish you go, well, we'll send him back, and then you'd be like, well, what's the point in having him?
Look, I've always been very honest with my feelings on Bronson Reed. I've never not liked him. No. But I've never gravitated to him either. I just didn't care. And that, unfortunately, he seems like a really nice guy. He seems like a really lovely bloke, who I think is a talented wrestler.
Oh yeah.
He just doesn't have, in my opinion, I've not seen something that makes me like care whether he was on that show or not. Like if Bronson Reed wasn't on an NXT for 3 or 4 weeks, I didn't even notice until like maybe after it gone off. Oh, Reed weren't on this, but it's I don't even know what it was. We've both spoken many times about having the it thing.
Yeah.
And I think he's just unfortunately hasn't got that it thing. I get why Vince didn't say anything. It was like he's a very similar size to Keith Lee, but when you watched Keith Lee wrestling in NXT, you went, "Fucking hell, wow!" Like he did things that made your jaw drop. You know, he clearly had something about him that was different. And without even really saying anything, the fans got behind him. The fans never really got behind Reed, I don't think.
I think now, I mean, before they would have gone, well, we'll send it back to NXT for more training. I think that's what they would have done years ago. But I think when they're paying so much for someone and they're like, I don't see anything in this person, I think WWE now just like, we'll get rid of them. You know, because it's happened before. MJF, right, was on a developmental deal and he was a security guard and he was released. Now, I guarantee you, if he said, I'm a free agent, WWE would come knocking on his door. I've seen it happen many times throughout the years where they've released a guy. He's not very good in WWE. He's gone off and done really good things in other companies. And then WWE have rehired him because they've gone, hang on a minute, he's good, we'll have him back. Yeah. It's happened many times. I think it's a good thing because they've gone through the WWE system, so they know it. And they've gone off and they've had more experience elsewhere. And so they've redefined it and sort of found themselves, if you know what I mean. And now they're now WWE want them again. And like I said, it's happened many times. Many times.
Yeah.
With people where they've not done very good the first time round. And I mean, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles both appeared in WWE in 2004 on a developmental deal, and WWE said they saw nothing in them. Now look at them. They both went back to WWE, both done massive there. One's now left and doing bigger things, and AJ Styles is still there, and he went off to TNA and was a massive star, and they brought him back. So you've got to look, you've got to say, oh, you know, Bronson Reed might have not done very good. Hopefully he goes off, and he goes, I think he's been tweeting about our Ring of Honor and places like that. Go, do that. Make yourself a big name there. WWE will see that, and then you might come back.
Well, look, it's happened to, you know, look at McIntyre.
Yeah.
You know?
McIntyre, you got McIntyre, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. They all appeared before they appeared elsewhere in WWE. I think AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan's first match, which is actually on the WWE Network, is on Velocity against John Cena. And he done really well. And then WWE after that went, I don't see anything in you.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
Yeah.
Top guy in WWE at the time. So, yeah, a lot of these talent might not make the cut at the end of the day, but then might be later on, if you know what I mean. They might come back.
Let's hope, mate. Anyway, you know, let's
but
hope.
Yeah, but I mentioned you like Darkness of NXT and the lighting and stuff like that.
I do, yeah.
I don't like it being too dark. You need to see what's going on and the crowd and all that sort of stuff. I like that. But you're right in saying that it's we're moving along though with the dark with it, and they're sort of the stuff that made it good. I think over the years, obviously we've seen it grow, haven't we? And I think now it's going back to where it originally was, where everyone, I remember when it first started out, everyone was like, this is great. You know, it was indie style. It was brilliant. And then they moved away and they got a bit more mainstream, shall I say, because they started appearing in the USA and things like that, where before it was just a network show, wasn't it? Originally, you could only watch it on the network. So it was for like a hardcore WWE fans. But now it's on USA. It's a bit more mainstream. And I think that mainstream, they've looked at that and gone, well, it's not getting the numbers. something's happened. Let's go back. So,
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah,
like I said, my only issue is with it was when you read things like Triple H is being blamed for NXT's failures. What failures?
Yeah.
Because how I see it is NXT has been consistently better than Raw and SmackDown for the last 2 years. So
one thing,
what NXT failures?
Yeah, exactly. One of the things as well, that Vince McMahon and Triple H are close, really close, like a brother and son sort of relationship, and to say, I've seen the reports as well saying Triple H didn't know about the cuts and stuff like that. But once again, he could have stopped them. And the reason this is because the biggest reason is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was released. Triple H went, no, and signed him straight away. No one stopped him re-signing him. So my thing is when I see things like, Triple H didn't know about the releases, he might not have done, but he could have stopped them, and he hasn't. So, you know what I mean? Maybe he's also gone.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe there's something there. Maybe they, we've had them this long. Maybe, and it is true. I mean, they have tryouts, don't they? I think they have like a tryout every 2 months, and they sign about 12, 13 people from each tryout, and then out of those tryouts, they debut 3 or 4 people, and then out of those 3 or 4 people, only 2 ever go on to be anything. So it's the way it is, isn't it, really? I mean, you can't really say anything else really about that, but that's the way it is, I suppose.
Look, when Bronson Reed won the Cruiserweight,
North
American title,
yeah,
did anyone really care? I didn't really,
I wanted him to win it. I thought he had something, and I like the bigger guys, like his size and all that sort of stuff, and he can move.
Yeah,
it needs that X factor, which I don't think he had.
Yeah.
He needed something else. I mean,
he was a great wrestler. Look, for his size, he was a fantastic wrestler. He moved like a bloody cruiserweight. Very, very, very talented wrestler. Again, like you just said, I really do think he was just missing that it factor. Yeah. And in WWE, if you've not got it, then you're out.
Yeah, and that's it. The good thing is that they go on that, and hopefully, and Bronson hasn't done that. He hasn't sort of gone WWE's crap, or I was treated badly and all that sort of stuff like some of them do.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling he could come back if WWE sees something in him later on in another promotion. The door's open, isn't it, for him? So
yeah,
yeah. So do you want to get on to the predictions?
Yeah, let's do it, mate. Let's do it. Let's get cracking on.
Right. So I'm trying to think now what we've got.
Don't forget any.
Yes. Do you know what? I said it before and I'll say it again. There's too much wrestling on the telly. There's too much.
There really is, mate.
Trust me. I mean, I don't ever remember this much wrestling on TV.
No.
Obviously, the internet helps and stuff, but
it's a bit much for me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch Dark or Elevation, even though they're on YouTube. I don't watch them. I think it's been about 2 months now since I saw NXT UK. That's not just because it's not been good. It's just that I can't cram it in with everything else.
I know.
And I can't remember the last time I watched Main Event or 205 Live. I don't watch Impact anymore just because there's not enough time in the day, mate, to do work, kids, house. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can watch, and I think it would be overloaded if I did. But yeah, have you got the prediction? Have you got the matches there? I know some of them, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's what I'm just for. So
they should have written down.
They've added 2 they've added a pre-show match. They've added Ridge Holland versus Trey Baxter.
Yeah.
To the pre-show. I'm just
I think I think Holland is.
There you go.
That is, I think he's going to win that. It's also worth noting that he's now doing dark matches before Raw and SmackDown. He's taking on Austin Theory, and he won the last couple of dark matches he's had. So obviously they're testing him out now for the main roster as well. And I know, just to go off in the main roster a little bit, they did say after SummerSlam that there was going to be like an influx of NXT guys. So
could see, to be honest, is what Raw needs.
And SmackDown.
Adam Cole, Karrion Kross.
Yeah, they did say there's going to be a bit of an influx. So
SmackDown needs women, but Raw needs a massive shake up and freshening up because it's just dead.
Excellent, yeah. It's the same matches. Everyone says why. One of my pet peeves, just to go off a minute, one of my pet peeves is where people say they like AEW because they do different matches each week. And WWE constantly give us the same matches week in, week out. Watch WWE. I'll tell you what, go back to 2000 and watch every Raw and SmackDown going through, and you will see how many times they replay matches over and over again. Because trust me, it's happened a lot.
Yeah.
So the replaying of matches is nothing new. I remember there was, I think because at the moment, because I've been watching every Raw and SmackDown on the network when I've got like an hour or so. I'm up to 2004 now. In 2004, there were 3 weeks of SmackDown all in a row where John Cena faced Chavo Guerrero, champion versus championship match. It happened 3 times in a row, the same match and the same outcome every time. So no one can turn around and tell me and go, oh, we've had this match 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And WWE have done that constant, and go through and have a look. I'll tell you one of the biggest ones, and that was John Cena versus Edge. Now, obviously, they had a big storyline through 2008, right? Massive storyline, great storyline. But during 2008, they faced each other about 14 times.
Oh, easily, yeah. Easily.
So don't tell me at WWE, don't tell me that, oh my God, they're moaning because they're having matches. It's happened all the time. Nothing new. And it will happen in other promotions as well, including AEW, when they sort of, start getting the ball rolling on certain things. They'll have to. They can't keep doing different matches each week. They can't. But anyway, back to the predictions. I just want to say that.
No, you are right. Because it's something that I'm on about. The only point that I'd make is I remember those Cena versus Chavo Guerrero matches.
They were great.
They were good matches.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I vividly remember Cena versus Edge. They were world-class matches. I have a problem with it being the same match over and over again when it's absolutely dog shit.
Right.
That's when I have a real problem.
Yeah. A lot of people say, "Oh, we had this match last week." Yeah, and they've done it before. I see a lot of people tweeting and messaging saying, "Oh, I can't believe WWE do this or something," and it's like they've always look through the history. It's all there. It's all on the WWE network. You can't miss it. It's all there. It's all in black and white or color. But it's all there.
They've done it for decades. But I have got to mention a comment that Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful said weeks ago, which is so poignant and so true.
Yeah.
He said that people are moaning about rematch after rematch after rematch on Raw and SmackDown, and even on NXT as well. And WWE fans defending it by saying, yeah, but that's because they haven't got anyone else. Well, in the last 12 months, they've released how many talent that they weren't using. You can't have the excuse that, well, it's rematch after rematch because they've not got anyone else. No, they did. You know, they had that much talent that they've laid off 70 wrestlers over the last 18 months, and they've still got too many.
Yeah.
There's still people signed there that you still go weeks, and you know, Lucha House Party are still signed.
Yeah.
When do you ever see them?
Yeah.
You know, there's Jackson Riker's still there. When you know he's now the forgotten man again.
Bailey. When was the last time we saw Bailey?
Well, she's injured, isn't she?
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
You know, I'm trying to think. It's like for example, Tamina and Natalia. I know Natalia's just had a little ankle injury, but like over the last 12 months, you'll go 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks without seeing them, and they're there backstage. They're just not.
They were on SmackDown this week.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. They had a match.
But SmackDown. But yeah, they will go. They will go off. I mean, WWE in 2001, when they acquired WCW, they had WCW guys, WWE guys, and the roster was huge. But each week you got the same matches. Still,
but that's the problem. Is like if you don't deem that talent good enough, and that's why you're not using them, get rid of them.
Yeah.
If they are good enough, then use them more. It's like Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Especially Dolph Ziggler. And look, I get why a lot of people like Roode. He's very, very good. But
yeah,
Ziggler has everything. He is the most overlooked wrestler in the history of wrestling, in my opinion. He has the talent, the ability, but the mic skills and the it factor that if he was used and given reign to, you could have him as Raw's champion. You could have him as Raw's champion, and he would run with it. He's that talented, and he's just never ever used.
Right.
That's what annoys me, is when we're seeing Apollo versus Shinsuke for the 17th week in a row, and there's no Roode or Ziggler, especially Ziggler, on that show. You're like, why? Zayn, you know, Zayn, Ziggler, and Roode were all backstage at that SmackDown. They weren't used.
No, and Asuka as well. Apparently, Asuka's been turning up on Raw, and they've been telling her. Apparently, she's turned up on Raw. Why? You know, the first hour's on, she's gone back home because they've said we're not using you today. So.
WWE. Right, predictions.
Yeah, go on in, mate. Go
on. Ridge Holland, Trey Baxter.
Ridge Holland. Yeah. He's just come back. I don't see him losing. He's a bit of a powerhouse, isn't he?
He's going to absolutely destroy him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to absolutely destroy him. Raquel Gonzalez versus Dakota Kai for the NXT Women's Championship.
Now, I'm 50-50 with this one. I'm really 50-50 with this one. I want Dakota to win. I want Dakota to win, but I think Rochelle will win. I think Rochelle will win it. I think they're pushing her quite a bit at the moment. Dakota's been there quite a while, so I think she could go up. But yeah,
I just love seeing you squirm and just not know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Either one of them.
I've got a theory on this one, and I'm not happy. And interestingly, I'm the opposite of you.
Right.
Polar opposite.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
Is I think Raquel Gonzalez will win. I agree with you on that.
Oh, sorry, yeah, not Dakota.
Sorry. No, I am right. I think Dakota Kai is going to win, and they're going to take Raquel Gonzalez up. And I think that is totally the wrong choice.
Yeah.
I think Raquel Gonzalez should stay on NXT and Dakota Kai should go up. Dakota Kai, she's 33 now. She has the experience.
Yeah.
You know, yes, okay, she's never been, NXT Women's Champion, but neither had Bianca, who's now SmackDown champion. You know, there's loads of guys that was never won a title in NXT and then went to Raw and SmackDown and won loads. So that really is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. I think Dakota's going to win the title and they're going to take Raquel up. And I think it's completely the wrong choice because I don't think Raquel is ready yet. I don't think Rhea was ready. Rhea is so talented.
Yeah.
And the fans love her. Well, what is helping her is she's getting a big reaction because everyone loves her. That is helping her at the minute, but she is struggling. I think she's been thrown in at the deep end, and she's, for a while she was champion, I think she was drowning. And I think they did the right thing taking the belt off her because she would have drowned. And we've witnessed careers get ruined by too much too soon. They can't handle it, and they drown, and then you never see them again. Rhea, when she came up, when she debuted at the WrestleMania match against Charlotte, it was Charlotte beat the NXT title. She was 22.
Yeah.
Now, to put that into perspective, when Finn Balor debuted, he was 35. When AJ Styles debuted, he was 42.
Yeah.
So, it's like Randy Orton, who I consider one of the greatest of all time. I think he's got to be in that bracket. He's got to be in that conversation. He really is that good.
Yeah.
He admits himself, it took him a long time to get to where he is now.
Yeah.
A long time.
And it does. And I think at the moment, a lot of fans want it instant. You know what I mean? They see someone like, say, Cross, and we know he's brilliant, but they want him to be champion straight away. And they want him to be good. And he is good. But if you need that build, and it needs to be slow, because if it's too quick, it could burn out, like you've said.
But on NXT, Crush, it looks different, and I think a part of it is the darker lighting makes him look more intimidating.
Yeah,
he has that. I've said it before. Gerard Butler in 300. That's the feel that I get off Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
On NXT, he's built and portrayed like the top dog. Like, he looks $1,000,000. He looks like NXT champion. But he's even when he doesn't do an entrance, even when it's just a promo where he's not even in the ring, even if it's a backstage promo where it's just a camera on him backstage, he looks great. On Raw, he looks like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that it's the production around him.
Yeah.
It's overly produced on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cheesy and corny. On NXT, it's darker and it's more pulled back. It's more, more of a. I know it's a musical term, but it's more of an acoustic feel. It's less is more.
Yeah.
I think I think Dakota Kai is going to win the title and they'll take Raquel up. And for me, Raquel should beat her and stay on NXT, and Dakota Kai should go up.
Like I said, I'd like Dakota to win. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rochelle wins. So we'll have to see.
Yeah,
we'll have to see. Because like I said, there's a lot of big changes.
It's a 50-50 that one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of big changes coming, a lot of people moving. So yeah, I think this is going to set the groundwork for stuff later on. You know what I mean?
So, LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes with Ted DiBiase. If Grimes loses, Ted DiBiase has to become Knight's butler.
Once again, I'd love Grimes to win, right? But look at the comedy that's happened when he's become a butler. Imagine Ted DiBiase as well. You know what I mean? There might be something there, but I think
Grimes this time.
Yeah, I think Grimes is going to win. I always said this originally, didn't we? You know, the belt came back. It was going. Grimes' thing. His entrance has got all the money. You know, he had all. You know, he was built for the $1 million belt. LA Knight is a very, very good wrestler. Yeah, very good on the mic. Looks fantastic.
Yeah,
he's a good wrestler. He doesn't speak to me as $1 million champion, if you know what I mean. His character and anything doesn't like, but Cameron Grimes does. So, and I said this to you before. I think if he doesn't win, and they've got the Butler thing going on, I still think Cameron Grimes is going to win the $1 million belt. I still think that.
Mm. No, I agree. I agree completely.
I would like Cameron Grimes to win. I'm big on Cameron Grimes, always have been. You know, I remember sticking by him when he was getting beaten every week. He was coming out and everyone was like, oh, they hate him. And he was getting beaten left, right and centre every single week. He's now turned to a fan favourite and everyone loves him now.
Yeah.
You know?
Next is, I mean, yeah, all I want to say on that is Cameron Grimes is amazing. He's got everything. He has everything that you need to succeed in this business, and I think he will succeed. I think he's got a massive future ahead of him. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time not too long ago where he was a jobber, and I hate that word, but he was classed as one of those because he would come out and he would put over a lot of the bigger acts, a lot of the bigger people. He was good on the mic, and it's sort of paying off because everyone has seen him and now everyone loves him because of where he is. But yeah, Cameron Grimes all the way.
Yeah, same as Carlo Reilly versus Adam Cole in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Fall 1's a traditional wrestling match. Fall 2 is a street fight, and Fall 3 is a steel cage match if it's necessary. Now, I'm going to take the lead on this one if you don't mind, Kev.
Yeah, go on, mate.
I think we are going to massively disagree on this point.
Right, okay. Well, I don't know. What do you reckon? Shall we say who's going to win first, and then we'll go from there?
All right, okay. So I think Adam Cole. I think
O'Reilly.
Yeah, again, it's another 50. I'm more excited for TakeOver than I am SummerSlam. I genuinely am. So many, because so many of the matches are just 50-50. They could go either way. I'm 50-50. I think you're thinking the way I was thinking a week ago, which is Adam Cole is definitely going up, which means Kyle O'Reilly's probably winning. That's probably your thinking behind Kyle, yeah? But there's no belt involved, so it doesn't really matter who wins. I think that the NXT career that Adam Cole has had and what Adam Cole created with the Undisputed Era and how he catapulted NXT to that. I know you weren't a fan of not that you weren't a fan of it, but you preferred it when it was just developmental and it was just on the network. But Adam Cole was a massive reason why it did get pushed the way it went. I mean, when he had a match against Seth Rollins on Raw and beat him, and then he went to SmackDown against Daniel Bryan and beat him. But he was incredible and he deserved to win both matches. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He is that good. If he goes for another 8 years at WWE and he's used the way that he should be used, he's a future Hall of Famer. 100%. He has everything. He does have that it factor. He's a beautiful man with lovely, luscious blue eyes.
Yeah.
Is an incredible wrestler, and he's great on the mic. And he, like I said, he has the it thing. He's amazing. He has everything. I think the career he's had in NXT, he deserves to win his last match in NXT. But on the flip side of it, which is the side you're coming from, where do you go with O'Reilly then? Because O'Reilly now needs to stay on NXT, having just lost. I think it's a really interesting one.
Yeah, the reason I say O'Reilly is, one, because we know that Adam Cole signed a new deal and there was plans to move him up to SmackDown. And also because I think Kyle O'Reilly needs it more to elevate him more in NXT. If he loses, like you said, where does he go? No, he won't be in the title pictures, will he? Because he's just lost. So he needs to be He needs to be. Yeah, he needs to win. I think he needs to win more than Adam Cole. If Adam Cole wins, I'll be happy with that. But I think Kyle O'Reilly needs it more.
You're probably right. Just
because he lost the last one. When we done the last prediction for him, we said Kyle needs it, and he lost. So, and this is like the end game sort of thing, isn't it? It's like the last chance saloon sort of thing. So,
well,
I think he needs it more.
Well, just before we move on to what I think we're going to disagree on, I just want to say, at SummerSlam, do you think something could happen where, stranger things have happened? I think everyone said that there's going to be surprised. There's going to be some surprises.
Yeah.
Is Finn Balor going to get involved in the Edge and Cena match, in the Roman Reigns John Cena match? And if he is, will it be Finn Balor or will it be him?
The Demon.
The Demon.
Yeah. We'll have to watch.
Because he was the first ever Universal Champion at SummerSlam as the Demon King. You
also, as well, I want to point out that SummerSlam's already happened when this video goes up. We haven't seen it yet. This is on Saturday Saturday afternoon.
On Saturday,
but yeah, I mean, that might have happened. It might not have, but there could be a way. I know a lot of people were very disappointed when Finn came out and said, "Oh, they were going to do the contract sign, then Cena come over and writ his name in his place."
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were a bit disappointed with that. So I think going forward, we may see him in the title picture, which is really good. But the good thing about SmackDown, unlike Raw, which I don't really know what's going on with the title picture, on SmackDown, there's an abundance already because you've got Seth Rollins, Edge, Finn Balor already snapping at the heels. We've had Kevin Owens, but he could still be in that running as well. So they've got a really good. But there's the I want to say there's the thing that we're all missing out on here. There's a big thing that we're all missing. We'll come back to NXT in a minute, and that is the Money in the Bank briefcase. Obviously, Corbin's got it at the moment.
I think Corbin's going to cash it in at SummerSlam,
But I
really do.
Like I said to you before, it's like with when Nikki Ash cashed in and stuff like that. It's the best way of getting someone who's strong and over to lose the title, like Roman. Like, they could be having a match, couldn't they? I think it's the best way of that finishing that sort of match between Roman and Cena. They're really good. They really want it. Two of them are saying I'm the best at this, and they're both really good. But the way of doing it is halfway through the match, they're both out, and the cash-in happens. Just like at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins, when during the match between Reigns and Brock, he comes straight out before the match was over, cashed in, game over sort of thing. And I could see this. I could see it's like probably the best way of getting it off Roman at the moment.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, that might have happened. I mean, we're just talking about.
We're having it. Like I said, anyone that is watching this tomorrow, well, Sunday now live, Sunday at 11 a.m. It is going up. But we are recording it obviously the day before. But I think there's going to be a lot of surprises. Like I was saying on the video that we obviously did earlier.
Yeah,
I think Vince McMahon's an intelligent man. He's going to have things up his sleeve. He knows that Punk coming out broke the internet, broke everything. You can't undervalue and underestimate words that Jim Ross says. Jim Ross, what has he seen over the last 40 years? What has he witnessed? He said that CM Punk coming out at AEW is the greatest moment he's ever witnessed. A man like Jim Ross doesn't just throw that away as a nothing comment and say that lightly. I think when he says that, he means that.
Yeah.
That you can see grown ass men bawling their eyes out because CM Punk is back. This is, look, I don't want to get too deep. See, I was 13 when I was like massive on CM Punk. As a 13-year-old boy, you're very, very impressionable. I idolized CM Punk, idolized him. Like I obviously I was only 13, but like even when I got a bit older, when I was like 14, 15, 16, I never drank. I never did drugs. He obviously was straight edge. There was things like that, but he was so cool. He was, you know, I wanted to be him when I grew up. He was straight edge. He didn't do drugs. He didn't, you know, he was, you know, he did all the right things and all the healthy things, but he was so cool. Yeah. He was a great wrestler, but he was so cool. And as a young boy, how do you not look up to that version of CM Punk and not absolutely idolize him? And I did. And I know that one of my best mates, Colin, he idolized him as well. You know, CM Punk returning is a big thing to a lot of people. It means, like, I never thought that I'd ever see CM Punk in a wrestling ring again, because every time he's been interviewed and he said, you know, and it was like,
I'm not doing it ever again.
Do you miss it? And he'd go, no.
Yeah.
But it was so, like, it was heartbreaking to hear. As a massive Punk fan, the way he delivered the words was like, no, I don't miss it.
No. Yeah.
He didn't care. He did not care anymore about wrestling. And I never thought I'd ever see him again. And it cult of personality hitting him. And do you know what? When he's on his knees, you can see him swallowing heavily. You can see that he's got tears, but building up in his eyes himself. You know, and this is a guy that very, very like. Obviously, his wife AJ Lee said some really, you know, funny things, saying that, you know, he is emotionless. He doesn't get emotional, and you could see that he was moved by the reaction that he got. That pop, we're hearing it as a recording coming through our TVs. I don't think we can feel just how electric.
No, I think it would have been deafening. It would have been deafening.
If you're in that arena, anyone that was in that arena, that's something that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell how loud it was because it drowned out the entrance music.
Yeah.
You couldn't really hear it. It just drowned out. So.
Yeah. Right. Let's finish off these predictions anyway. But I love you, Punk. Anyway. So here's the thing that I think that we're going to disagree on, and be honest. I really want your honest opinion. This has started happening a lot.
Right.
When you hear that it is a best of 3 falls match, you go, what's the stipulations going to be? What are the falls going to be? I swear to God, the last 4 or 5 that WWE have done on NXT, on Raw, SmackDown, on
they've been the same.
Whatever it is. No, the first match, the first fall, traditional wrestling match. Yeah. Boring!
Always is, normally,
it's boring. The first fall's a traditional wrestling. What's the fucking point? That in my opinion, and I know I'm exaggerating, that in my opinion is like going, it's a Hell in a Cell match, but you're not allowed to use that cell. Well, you can't use it. If you throw your opponent into that cell, disqualified. It's a steel chair match, but you can't use the steel chair. It's fucking pointless. Why are you having a best of 3 falls match where each fall is a different stipulation? Traditional wrestling match. Also, what we see every single week. What's special about it? But they do it every single fucking time. Give me 3. Give me 3. You know, a falls count anywhere match, and then have I don't know a steel cage match, and then have I don't know.
Street fight,
a TLC match or a street, like have 3 stipulations that you don't see every week.
Yeah, the reason they do that is because the stipulations are supposed to get worse every time they go up, if you know what I mean. You start off as a normal wrestling match to drain your opponent, and the next match would be harder and then harder going forward. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's why. But do you know what you could do? Fall 1, no count outs.
Yeah.
At least it's different.
Yeah, yeah.
First fall, no count out. So you can be outside the ring beating shit out of each other outside the ring, and there's no count outs. But you've got to get the 1, 2, 3 inside the ring because it's not a false count anywhere. It's just it's a no count out match.
Yeah.
Then have a street fight, then have a steel cage.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me a traditional wrestling match because that's what we see. You made the point earlier, and you've said it to me 1,000 times, mate, there's too much wrestling at the minute. I can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
So all you've watched all week that you've had enough of, that you're going, fucking, I've had enough wrestling, is traditional wrestling matches. That's what you've watched all week. Now this is a pay-per-view, 4-1 traditional wrestling match. I fucking give up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get it. And it annoys me.
I can see.
Anyway, 4-2 is a street fight. Yay! Let's just fast forward 4-1. And then, obviously, if it goes there, which it will, 4-3 is a steel cage. And again, I'm not annoyed about it. I'm just a little bit like, it's always a steel cage.
Yeah.
Like, why can't it be a Hell in a Cell match? Why can't it be inside the War Games cell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you must have been at home like me watching that, and as William Regal's about to announce what the third fall is, you must have gone, he's going to say steel cage.
Yeah, of course.
You must have gone, he's going to say steel cage. And then William Regal goes, steel cage. And you go, well, yeah, kind of seen that coming.
Yeah. Yeah. They should. I would have booked it as a 30-minute Iron Man match, first fall, because that would have tired the fuck out of them. Steel cage match at the second match, right? And if they're still standing, then a street fight. And then that could have gone anywhere, really, couldn't it? I mean, it would have been.
Yeah, but like I think a street fight is worse than a steel cage match.
Yeah. Yeah, of course
a street fight is literally anything goes. Like, a steel cage match, you're inside that steel cage. And, in a street fight, you use a lot more weapons. You're fighting in the crowd. You're fighting backstage. Like, they're the matches that the street fight matches are the ones that we all love. I'd have done exactly the same thing as you. Iron Man match is a great shout.
Yeah, 30-minute Iron Man match, then a cage match, then a street fight.
Imagine how good that would have been with them two as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Because guys, don't sleep on Carlo Reilly, because that is one talented kid. Well, he's older than me, I think. That is one talented wrestler, very, very talented guy.
Yeah,
really, really good in the ring. 2 matches left, mate. Karrion Kross. It says here with Scarlett, so let's see if she is actually with him.
Yeah.
Versus Samoa Joe.
I think Samoa Joe. I don't see Karrion Kross doing Raw and NXT. Maybe at the moment, but not going forward.
Yeah, I think Joe's gonna win, and then I think Kross is gonna snap and beat living fuck out of him.
I think Joe will win. I think he'll put him to sleep. And then I think Joe, on the following week, I think Joe will vacate the title, and they'll have either a tournament or some sort of match to determine the next champion.
Well, that's what I think. I think he'll vacate the belt, but I think he'll vacate the belt because I don't think Joe's going to be on NXT for long. If they're planning on, look, it's going to be developmental for the young guys. He's fucking 46.
Yeah,
one of the oldest wrestlers that they have.
Well, one of the thingies in his new contract, one of the new stipulations in his new contract is a scout.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen him
So
scouting.
he's already been out scouting as well. So I think his placement on NXT is permanent. But I think he's going to be sort of a bit like he was then, sort of an enforcer occasional wrestling.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's going more backstage stuff. He already said, didn't he, in the new contract, it's a lot more backstage stuff. So
as long as he's on our TV screens, do we care in what role? It's Samoa Joe. The guy is just, you love him. You can't not love him. I don't know any wrestling fan who doesn't just not like him, doesn't absolutely love him.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
You can't help it. His music hits, and you sat at home going, Joe. You can't help it. He's amazing. He has what a lot of people don't have, and it is that it thing. You just, every time you see him, you get excited, you get giddy, even when he's not wrestling. It's Samoa Joe. He's incredible.
Oh yeah.
And I've saved it until last, mate, because a lot of people probably who haven't seen the first match, I know you have, will be probably not even paying this match that much attention. And a lot of people, I think, are sleeping on it. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. I'm going to say now, we have got about, how many matches on SummerSlam? Is it about 112 matches on SummerSlam?
It seems like
something around there, isn't it?
Yeah, something around there. Yeah.
So we've just had Punk debut on Rampage Friday night. We've just had Friday Night SmackDown. Saturday we've got a monstrous SummerSlam, which I think will be great. I think it's going to be at least 4 or 5 hours long, probably 5 hours long. And then we've got Takeover. And I'm going to say it now. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov will be the match of the weekend.
Yeah.
That match will be the best wrestling match out of all of them.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, if you've watched their matches before in NXT UK,
their first match, oh my god, the brute. Do you know what I liked about it? That to me didn't feel like a wrestling match. I like things to be different. That felt like a fight.
Yeah,
it felt like a fight. Those punches landed, both of them.
Yeah,
that was real. That was a real fight.
Yeah,
with the entertainment aspect of wrestling moves in there, because if me and you started having a scrap on a Saturday night, we're not going to be RKOing each other, are we? You know what I mean? So of course there was the wrestling element of it, and I understand that, but that was nasty, and it wasn't using weapons. They just beat living shit out of each other for about 45 minutes. It was brutal. I mean,
I think a lot of people who haven't seen NXT UK are going to start going, I'm going to be watching now.
Yeah, I mean, I've only seen a couple of episodes of NXT UK, and I've only seen Ilya Dragunov have 3 matches on NXT UK. One was Walter, which I believe won match of the year for last year. I think the fans voted that as match of the year for 2020. I've seen Ilya Dragunov versus Finn Balor, which was insane, and I've seen Ilya Dragunov versus Cesaro, which was insane.
Yeah.
Ilya Dragunov is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, Walter is. I mean, what is he on? Over nearly 700 days as champion.
I think he's dropping the belt now.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely, yeah. Dragunov's winning this, right?
Yeah, Dragunov's winning that belt. Where's Walter going? Is Walter going to NXT? Because what I find interesting about this is Walter could NXT UK to NXT is a step up. Look at Pete Dunne. They obviously tried. They wanted to do that with Jordan Devlin, but of course it didn't work. Rhea Ripley made that jump as well. Yeah. Walter could jump from NXT UK to NXT. I hope it's Raw or SmackDown.
Walter is contracted to NXT UK, and he said he has no plans to move from the UK. So I don't know what's happening there, but he said he's quite happy to appear on Raw and SmackDown, but he said he is not moving and he has no interest. So
maybe he doesn't want to live in America.
Yeah, he's already said that whatever happens, he's not moving or living in America, and he wants to be close to his family. Like he said, he's quite happy to do, 1 or 2 weeks over there for stuff, but not full time, we should see where it goes from this. Because
do you know what, mate? Do you know what? NXT's plans for the future could benefit Walter quite well then, because if you think about it, if they're taping 4 shows, Walter could film his 4 shows and then piss off back to Austria for 2 weeks, and then fly back, do another 4 tapings, and then go back home for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
So
he said he's quite happy where he is, and trust me, I don't think they. I mean, everyone goes, "Oh, they'll release him and he'll go to AEW." No, he won't. He doesn't want to leave what he's doing. He loves what he does. He doesn't want to move to America.
He loves the UK. I've seen a thing that he said where he said that he's become very, very close to the UK wrestling fans.
Yeah, he is.
Which is nice to hear, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think Dragunov's winning that. So definitely.
Yeah.
Shall we leave it there?
Yeah, I'm happy to leave it there, mate.
I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Obviously, we're going to be live next Sunday. It's a big week of wrestling: Punk, SummerSlam, Takeover. But yeah, go and enjoy it. I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. Enjoy the weekend, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, the next one.